So in this video, we look at another example of a word problem that involves a quadratic equation. In this example, you've got the height h in feet of a ball thrown by a child is given by this equation. So they give you the equation. It says h equals negative 114 d squared plus 2d plus 4, where d is the horizontal distance in feet from where the ball is thrown. So let's think about that for a minute. So you've got a child. Here's my child. Okay. And he's throwing a ball. And the ball is going to, of course, travel in that parabola shape that we've talked about, right? And the input variables, because you've got this equation, h equals negative 114 d squared plus 2d plus 4. The input variable is d, and d represents horizontal distance from where the ball is thrown. So, for example, if you think of this as an xy coordinate system, so I'm gonna, there, the kid's gonna go through there. Okay, so just like that, right? Okay, so then this point right here on the parabola, the input variable, which would be right here, this distance horizontally, that's d, which is the distance the ball is from the starting position. And then the output variable is going to be your height of the ball, h, above the ground. Okay? So now the first question says, how high is the ball when it leaves the child's hand? So we know that we're looking for h because it asks for how high is the ball. So we're looking for height when it leaves the child's hand. Well, our equation, the input variable is horizontal distance of the ball from the child, right? They're looking for this point right here, aren't they? Right when the ball leaves the child's hand. So what's d right here? Well, if you're thinking that d is 0, you're right. The distance the ball is from the child is 0 because it's just leaving the child's hand. So you're going to substitute 0 in for d here in our equation. So what do we get? We get h equals, well, negative 114, 0 squared is 0, right? Plus 2 times 0 is 0, plus 4. So h equals 4. So what does that say? Well, it says that the ball is 4 feet off the ground when it leaves the child's hand. Okay, so that's our concluding statement. Part B says, when the ball first reaches 14 feet above the ground, it is blank feet horizontally from the child. So we've got that child. He's thrown the ball, travels in the shape of a parabola. And this time it says when the ball first reaches 14 feet above the ground. So that's our h, that's our height. And we're looking for the horizontal distance, which is d. So the ball, as you know, goes up, reaches the maximum height, which is the vertex of the parabola, and then goes back down, right? So somewhere along the line here, sometime it's up 14 feet. And we're looking for this distance d, okay? So with our equation, which as you remember was h equals negative 114 d squared plus 2d plus 4, h is 14. So we're going to substitute 14 there. And now we're going to solve for d, which is a quadratic equation, isn't it? Okay, so first step, of course, will be to get our quadratic equation in standard form. So you're going to want to subtract the 14 from both sides. Let's actually move everything to the left so that our leading coefficient, this negative 1/14, is positive. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to combine like terms here with the 14 and the negative 4, right? Which is plus 10, and that equals 0. And then I'm not liking this 1/14 here. So I'm going to multiply everything by 14 over 1 so that I can have a 1d squared. So let's do that. That's a nice little tip, right? So we're going to distribute this 14 everywhere, and 14 times 0 is 0 on the right. So here we have d squared minus 28d plus 140. So kind of big numbers. What can we do here? Well, we can use quadratic formula. Let's try that, okay? Okay, so I went ahead and used my quadratic formula. A is 1, B is negative 28, and C is 140. And then I substituted A, B, and C in the quadratic formula. So D equals the opposite of B, plus or minus square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. gives us this, right? I'm showing you here all the steps that I did. And then I split up my d into two equations, 28 plus root 224 over 2, which is about 21.48 feet approximately, or d is 28 minus square root of 224 over 2, which is 6.52 feet. And notice, remember how it told us that it wanted to know when the ball first reaches 14 feet? So of these two, that would be this distance. So when the ball is 6.52 feet horizontally from the child, so this d is 6.52 feet, then this height is 14 feet.